Travis Decker, the father who vanished with his 3 daughters, shocking Washington manhunt. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button if you love dark, twisted mysteries, and don't forget to like and comment. You won't want to miss a second of this chilling story. The night Travis Decker vanished began like any other in the quiet outskirts of Wenatchee, Washington. The streets were empty, lit only by flickering lampposts that cast long, uneasy shadows across the pavement. A thin mist rolled off the nearby Columbia River, curling around trees and street signs like ghostly fingers. In a modest blue house at the edge of town, the walls seemed to hold a silence that felt almost too heavy, as if the air itself was waiting for something terrible to happen. Inside, Travis moved through the rooms with a mechanical precision. His daughters, 9-year-old Emma, 8-year-old Lily and 5-year-old Sophie, were unaware of the storm brewing in their father's mind. Neighbors later recalled seeing him load the family into his SUV, their small faces pressed against the windows, eyes wide with curiosity or fear. Travis didn't speak much, his jaw tight, his eyes distant, fixated on the road ahead. The night swallowed the vehicle as it disappeared into the darkness, leaving behind only a faint trail of exhaust and unease. By morning, his home was empty, chairs still around the dinner table, toys scattered across the living room floor, as if the family had vanished into thin air. Law enforcement arrived within hours, summoned by frantic calls from relatives who hadn't seen the children in over 12 hours. Officers moved cautiously through the house, their boots echoing against hardwood floors. Every drawer, every closet, every corner was examined. Nothing seemed out of place, except for the chilling absence of the family. No note. No struggle. Just an eerie, suffocating emptiness. It was as if the house itself had swallowed them whole. Outside, search teams combed the nearby woods, their flashlights cutting through the dense fog, revealing gnarled branches and shadowed hollows that seemed to watch the intruders. Volunteers joined the hunt, faces pale in the moonlight, their breaths coming out in white clouds that vanished quickly into the night. Rumors began to spread. Someone had seen a dark SUV near the old campground off Highway 97. Another claimed a man matching Travis' description was spotted buying gasoline in the dead of night, his daughters nowhere in sight. Panic gripped the town as theories multiplied: kidnapping, a desperate escape, or something far more sinister. By the third day, Travis' SUV was found abandoned in a remote campground, doors ajar, engine cold, the children nowhere to be seen. The interior was strangely orderly, their small backpacks still tucked in the back seat, untouched snacks on the floor. A single chilling clue remained, a hastily scribbled map etched onto a scrap of paper, pointing deeper into the wilderness. The authorities called it a breadcrumb trail, but to the residents of Wenatchee, it was a warning. Social media erupted. Every post, every shared photo, every frantic comment painted a picture of growing fear. People speculated, debated, and panicked, amplifying the tension with each click. Some even claimed to have seen Travis on nearby trails, wandering aimlessly, talking to himself, the children's laughter echoing only in his mind. Others whispered of a hidden cabin in the woods where he had taken them, a place no one dared to find. The town became a character in itself, ominous, haunted, holding secrets that refused to reveal themselves. As night fell on the 5th day, searchlights cut across the forest like desperate eyes, illuminating patches of fog, fallen logs, and empty campsites. The authorities followed every lead, mapping every clue, interviewing anyone with the slightest connection. But Travis and the girls had melted into the night. Fear settled over Wenatchee like a dense, choking fog. Families locked their doors, neighbors watched each other with suspicion, and the question that haunted every mind was simple, yet impossible to answer. Where had Travis Decker gone, and what had become of his daughters? The first chapter of this nightmare was closing, but no one in the town, and certainly no one following this story online, would ever forget the tension of those first vanished days. Every whisper, every shadow, every empty swing in a playground reminded them that a darkness had come to their quiet streets, a darkness that refused to explain itself. The forest around the abandoned campground felt alive in a way that made every shadow seem threatening. Branches snapped underfoot as the search teams moved cautiously, flashlights bouncing across gnarled trees that twisted skyward like skeletal fingers. The air was thick, damp, and carried a faint, metallic scent that set nerves on edge. Every rustle in the underbrush made hearts pound. Every distant howl of a coyote felt like a sinister echo of something human. The authorities had called in search and rescue dogs, but even the dogs hesitated, growling at empty patches of fog. It was as if the woods themselves didn't want the truth to be found. Detective Marissa Cole had taken the lead on the case, her face set in a permanent grim line. She had seen her fair share of missing person reports, but there was something about Travis Decker that felt different. Not just the sheer desperation of the community, but a cold, calculated element that made her uneasy. Travis wasn't just a man on the run. There was intent in his actions, a precision in his vanishing that made the crime feel meticulously planned. Every move he had made before disappearing seemed deliberate, leaving only breadcrumbs for authorities and the public to follow, breadcrumbs that led deeper into danger. The investigation widened. Cameras from nearby traffic intersections were reviewed frame by frame, witnesses were questioned multiple times, and social media posts were traced for any potential clue. One officer found a strange detail. Travis' SUV had been parked in a way that blocked a hidden trail leading toward the river. It wasn't accidental. He had wanted someone to find it, but only barely. That small, deliberate act added another layer of unease. Had he wanted to be caught? Or was it a cruel misdirection to taunt those searching for his daughters? Meanwhile, the townspeople of Wenatchee were living in a state of constant tension. Parents held their children tighter, friends whispered in fear, and strangers eyed one another warily. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some claimed they saw Travis' silhouette walking along the ridges at dawn, carrying small bundles that could only be the children. Others insisted they saw him in town late at night, moving through shadows, disappearing before anyone could reach him. Fear blurred the line between reality and imagination, and soon even the search teams began reporting phantom sightings, footprints that seemed to appear and vanish without explanation. Marissa and her team followed every lead, chasing trails that led to abandoned cabins, hidden clearings, and the shallow banks of the river. The map found in Travis' SUV pointed them toward one location in particular, a dilapidated hunting cabin several miles from the nearest road. The cabin was surrounded by dense trees, nearly invisible to anyone passing by. The front door was slightly ajar, revealing a dark interior. Inside, the smell of damp wood and something fouler, a mix of sweat and fear, filled the space. Small handprints marked the walls as though the children had wandered there weeks before, leaving behind a silent testimony of their presence. Outside, the wind picked up, whistling through broken windows, carrying faint echoes of laughter that might have been real, or might have been the mind's way of playing tricks in the oppressive darkness. Detective Cole crouched by the fireplace, noticing the faint scuff marks on the floorboards, leading to a trapdoor hidden beneath a threadbare rug. With a deep breath, she pried it open, revealing a steep ladder descending into pitch black. The air from below was cold, stale, and carried the unmistakable scent of confinement. Something, or someone, had been down there. Suddenly, a phone buzzed in her pocket. A tip had come in. A local hiker had seen a figure matching Travis' description near the cliffs outside town, carrying what looked like 3 small backpacks. The urgency returned. Every second counted, every step could change the outcome. The tension was unbearable, a tight coil of fear and hope twisted together. Whoever Travis Decker was, he had led the authorities and the public into his world. A world filled with shadows, misdirection, and secrets no one yet understood. By the end of the second chapter, the search had moved from the open forest to the claustrophobic interior of the hidden cabin and the treacherous cliffs, with every clue pointing to Travis' intelligence and unpredictability. The children's fate remained uncertain, and the darkness surrounding them seemed to grow heavier with each passing hour. Wenatchee had become a town suspended between fear and hope, with Detective Cole determined to uncover the truth before it was too late. The early morning mist clung to the treetops as Detective Marissa Cole led a small team down the trapdoor in the cabin. The air below was cold and suffocating, carrying a faint, musty odor that made every breath feel sharp and shallow. Her flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing a narrow, dirt-lined corridor that descended further into the earth. The walls were rough, uneven, and scraped in places as if someone, or something, had struggled through here before. Every footstep echoed, magnifying the tension that had been building over the past days. This was no ordinary hiding place. At the bottom of the ladder, the team discovered a small, dimly lit chamber. Dust motes danced in the beam of the flashlights, and the faint sound of dripping water echoed ominously. There, in a corner of the room were the children, Emma, Lily, and Sophie, huddled together, wide-eyed, silent but unharmed. Relief surged through Marissa, but it was quickly replaced by confusion. The children clutched small handmade dolls and a map that matched the one found in the SUV. They had been here for days, surviving on snacks Travis had left behind. Travis was nowhere to be seen. The walls of the chamber were covered in scribbles and symbols, strange notations in a careful, obsessive hand. Detective Cole examined the markings, realizing they weren't random. They were plans, routes, contingencies, a twisted map of his mind. Travis hadn't simply disappeared. He had constructed an elaborate network of hiding places, leaving cryptic clues for anyone searching for him. The scale of his planning revealed a mind capable of both care and danger, love and obsession, all tangled together. Outside, the search teams continued combing the cliffs where Travis had been reportedly sighted. A resident called in reporting a figure moving near a hidden creek bed. The authorities approached cautiously, flashlights cutting across the wet rocks and tangled undergrowth. There he was, Travis Decker, standing silently by the water's edge watching. His face was calm, almost serene, and when the officers approached, he made no attempt to flee. The manhunt ended not with a violent confrontation, but with a quiet surrender. Travis' reasoning became chillingly clear in the aftermath. He admitted he had taken the children not to harm them, but to control the narrative, to keep them safe from what he believed was an unsafe world. Yet, the obsession, secrecy, and extreme measures he employed had transformed the act into a living nightmare for the community. Marissa and her team, as well as the families of the missing children, grappled with a mixture of relief and horror. They were safe, but the psychological scars, the terror of not knowing, would linger. The town of Wenatchee slowly returned to a fragile calm. Streets once heavy with suspicion and whispers became quiet again, though the memory of those tense days would remain embedded in the town's history. Parents hugged their children tighter, friends exchanged knowing glances, and the woods, now thoroughly searched and mapped, seemed less menacing but still carried an echo of the fear it had held. Social media exploded with updates, relief, and speculation, turning the story into a viral sensation overnight. True crime channels, podcasts, and forums dissected every detail, every choice, and every moment of the hunt. In the quiet aftermath, the final twist lingered. Travis Decker had vanished with his daughters, yes, but in the process he revealed something terrifying about control, obsession, and the lengths a person would go to protect what they loved, even if it meant instilling fear in everyone around them. The children, innocent witnesses to a father's extreme measures, emerged physically safe but forever changed by the shadows of the ordeal. And so, the story ended not with a scream, but with a haunting lesson. The darkest dangers aren't always visible, and the thin line between love and obsession can blur into something unrecognizable, leaving ordinary towns and ordinary people trapped in extraordinary fear. Wenatchee would heal eventually. But the memory of Travis Decker and the vanishing of his 3 daughters would linger, a chilling testament to how quickly life can spiral into a nightmare.